The following segment is sponsored by Smith Injury Law and 300hurt.com.
A car accident can leave you with painful injuries that affect you for years to come. That's why if you're injured, you'll want to work with an experienced attorney. Richard Smith from Smith Injury Law is with us this morning. Hi.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning. You've worked with clients over the years to get them compensated for a variety of injuries. I know, let's start. Whiplash is a common one, right?
Yes, and what it is, we call it an extension flexion injury, where your head goes forward and back. Usually it's a rear-end collision or any kind of collision can cause that. It can be very painful, can cause some severe permanent injuries. The insurance industry likes the term whiplash. We don't use that term because they have done a good job of making that into a negative term. People, putting a negative spin on that, assuming people are faking injuries, etc. When it's a real injury, and anybody that's been in an accident and had any kind of impact knows what it feels like. And it can be very damaging, it can be very painful, and very long-lasting. So it is a real injury. It just has a negative spin. That's why we don't use the word whiplash. We say extension flexion injury.
Right. Well, I know impact with the dashboard can cause knee trauma, things like that. One of your patients actually suffered a torn PCL in his left knee after a head-on collision. We've got that picture on screen right now. What happened?
Well, you can tell this patient, if you look at the two knees, the left knee is quite swollen compared to the right knee. And that is a common thing that happens when you hit the dash, whether it's your left or your right knee. In fact, if you look up online, PCL injury, the very first thing that shows up is often occurs in a car accident when you hit your knee against the dash. And that's something you're not going to find on an x-ray. You have to use an MRI to know that that's there. An x-ray is not going to show anything on that kind of injury. And it's a substantial injury, depending on how old you are, your lifestyle, how bad it is. It could be surgical or it can be handled by physical therapy.
Yeah. Well, broken bones, also very common, and avoiding all types of injuries really begins with defensive driving, a subject that we've discussed before. What do you want people to keep in mind?
Just remember that you don't really save any time by speeding. If you just, I don't know if you've ever done this experiment, but you can drive maybe the speed limit or slightly over a speed limit and compare that to somebody going much faster. If you're following somebody, for example, by the time you get to where you're going, you might save a couple of minutes by driving too fast. And you put a lot at risk. The risk is a bad accident. And even if somebody else is mostly at fault, if you're also speeding, it can cause your case to be denied. From a case perspective, it's a bad thing, but the main reason why I say drive defensively is just to preserve your life in safety. You don't want to be out there driving too fast. You don't accomplish much by going that fast anyway, and you're risking a lot.
It puts it in perspective. A couple saved minutes is not going to make a difference, but an accident sure does. Tell us a little bit about your practice and the types of cases that you handle at Smith Injury Law.
Well, we've discussed it this morning. We do a lot of car accident cases, both in South Carolina and North Carolina. I also do workers' compensation claims in both states. I've been licensed in both states for many years, and also do Social Security disability claims. Anything really involving an injury is something we will look at. That's why we have injury in our name, Smith Injury Law, and that's why our website is 300hurt, and our slogan about if you're hurt and can't work, call 300hurt. It's all to get across to people that we handle injury cases for the injured person. We don't represent insurance companies or big corporate defendants. We represent people who are injured, individuals who are hurt in auto accidents and workers' compensation claims.
Absolutely. Well, that information's on screen right now. People can get in touch with you by calling 300hurt. Visit 300hurt.com. Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law, thanks so much for being here today. We look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Mark.